Respect doesn't begin with what people see. It begins with what they feel when they're near you. Most people try to earn respect by performing strength, speaking louder, standing taller, proving worth through words. But real respect is born from something quieter: psychological safety. When someone feels safe around you, they start to respect you. Because safety is rare. Most people unconsciously seek it their whole lives. The first secret is this: people respect those who do not need to be respected. When your sense of worth isn't dependent on being seen, your presence changes. You stop chasing approval, and your calm becomes magnetic. Others can feel that your emotions aren't swayed by their reactions, and that gives you weight. People instinctively respect what they cannot easily move. We often think power is about dominance, but real power is about emotional gravity. It's the invisible pull of someone who doesn't react from insecurity. When someone stays grounded, even in tension, others sense a hidden certainty. They won't crumble if I disapprove. That subtle realization builds immediate respect, because most people crumble. Many spend years training themselves to speak with confidence, but they skip the deeper training, the art of not needing to be liked. Every time you try to sound confident, the effort leaks through. You can't fake the feeling of inner permission. Respect begins when you stop auditioning for acceptance. Something in you already knows this. If this feels familiar, stay with me. People decide how much to respect you within seconds, but not through logic, through the nervous system. Your tone, your pauses, your facial stillness, all tell their body whether you are threat or safety. If you radiate need, they sense the imbalance. Need creates subtle pressure. Validate me. Safety creates space. Be as you are. The second earns respect. Notice how people listen differently when they feel they don't have to protect themselves from your ego. When you stop competing in invisible ways, to be right, admired, or seen, others relax. And in that relaxation, they start to admire you without knowing why. The paradox is this: you become more respected when you stop trying to prove that you are, because respect grows in the presence of ease. And ease can't exist where you are performing. People reveal their inner hierarchy through micro movements. A small, lean forward, a quick interruption, a tight smile. Every gesture says, I'm trying to control how you see me. But when you don't flinch, don't rush to fill silence, don't shrink in discomfort, you communicate. I trust myself enough to let you think what you will. That trust disarms judgment. The reason this works is ancient. In early human groups, the person who could stay calm under threat signaled strength and predictability. Panic meant danger. Calm meant leadership. Our biology still reads stillness as authority. When you can stay emotionally steady in the storm of social energy, others instinctively orient around you. Respect is not commanded. It's felt. It is the body's response to coherence. When your words, tone, and presence all tell the same truth, I am enough, people sense integrity. And integrity feels safe. But most people have never felt safe being themselves, so they compensate. They use volume, achievement, control, or charm to create artificial safety. Yet underneath, the nervous system whispers, I'm afraid you'll see I'm not enough. Respect evaporates where fear hides. The path to true respect begins when you can hold your own fear with compassion instead of hiding it. Because When you stop hiding from yourself, others feel they can stop hiding too. And that's the real secret. Respect is not something you extract from others. It's something you awaken in them by being authentic first. The second secret: people respect clarity more than they respect kindness. Clarity says, I know where I stand. Kindness without clarity becomes self-erasure. Many confuse being agreeable with being respected, but constant agreement teaches others to overlook you. Boundaries, not compliance, create presence. When you say no with warmth, no defense, no guilt, you're teaching others how to interact with you. You're saying, I have edges. And people respect edges. They show you're real. Notice how your respect for someone rises when they can disappoint you without apology. It's not cruelty. It's integrity. It says, I will not betray myself to keep peace. That's the kind of energy that earns instant psychological weight. Because the moment you betray yourself to please, people sense it, and your invisible authority fades. Many mistake niceness for virtue. But niceness is often a survival strategy, a way to avoid rejection. It's a form of control disguised as warmth. True kindness is only possible when you're not afraid to be disliked. Respect is emotional math. The less you need from someone, the more value your presence holds. The person who can leave without resentment is always respected more than the one who clings for approval. The third secret hides in how you listen. People respect those who can make them feel seen without losing themselves. Most listening is reactive, waiting for a turn to respond. But real listening is regulation. It's the art of keeping your nervous system steady while someone reveals theirs. When you listen without interrupting, when your gaze doesn't flicker away from discomfort, you signal, I can hold what you can't. That makes people feel safe enough to open. Respect deepens not because you agreed, but because you didn't collapse. Sometimes respect arrives in silence, in the pause before you explain yourself. Most people rush to fill the air to avoid being misunderstood, but those who can stay quiet through misunderstanding project quiet certainty. The moment you stop defending your image becomes stronger, because defense always exposes insecurity, and insecurity invites hierarchy. The subtle truth is, people don't respect perfection. They respect steadiness. The one who doesn't flinch when seen imperfectly commands trust. What creates that steadiness is self-acceptance. You can only be unshaken by judgment when you've already made peace with your own flaws. People feel it immediately, the difference between someone pretending to be confident and someone who has nothing left to prove. When you no longer need to be right, liked, or validated, you become mysterious. And mystery is another word for untouchable calm. It's not that others fear you. It's that they feel you don't fear them. And in that subtle reversal, respect begins to bloom. Yet, there's still one deeper layer, one that few ever reach, because it requires confronting what we truly fear about respect itself. We chase respect because we confuse it with safety. As children, love often came with conditions. Behave, impress, succeed, please. We learned that approval equals worth. So we spend adulthood performing the same ritual, trying to earn in others what we never fully received inside. But here's the quiet truth. People who command instant respect are those who've stopped trying to heal their childhood through other people's eyes. They've realized that being respected by others can't fix the pain of not respecting yourself. Every time you crave to be seen as strong, successful, admirable, pause and ask, what am I hoping they'll confirm that I still doubt? Respect isn't a trophy. It's a mirror. It reflects how much you already value your own presence. The moment you anchor your self-worth internally, people sense it before a word is spoken. Their nervous system syncs to yours. They trust your stillness because it feels earned. And yet, there's a hidden danger, pride disguised as peace. Some mistake emotional detachment for confidence. But walls don't earn respect. They earn distance. True respect flows from openness, not control. It's the strength to remain soft without collapsing. People respect transparency wrapped in calm. When you can say, I don't know, or that hurt me, without dramatizing or retreating. Because that level of honesty feels rare. You don't lose authority by revealing your humanity. You lose it when you pretend you have none. Authenticity is power precisely because it's risky. Most avoid it. When you embrace it, others instinctively follow your lead. Respect always follows courage. There's also timing. The first few seconds of any interaction carry invisible communication, micro-signals that determine how others categorize you. The more present you are in those seconds, the more authority your presence carries. Because attention is power. People respect whoever gives them the gift of full, unhurried attention. When you're truly here, not multitasking, not scanning for social cues, your energy slows time. They feel seen. And in that stillness, they feel your value. Respect lives in the micro decisions of presence. It's not your words, but how you hold yourself while saying them. It's not your confidence, but your comfort with imperfection. And perhaps the most paradoxical truth, to be respected instantly, you must not seek it instantly. Because the need itself signals absence. True respect is an echo, not a chase. The more you try to appear worthy, the less you feel like yourself. The less you try, the more your true worth begins to surface, quietly, naturally, without defense. And others will feel it before they understand it. Yet, even this understanding leads to a deeper question, one that doesn't end with social mastery, but with self-liberation. If respect can be earned through presence, not performance, then what are we truly seeking when we chase it? Maybe respect is not the goal, but the byproduct of alignment. Maybe people respect you when you are living in a way that you respect. Every time you betray your truth to gain approval, you lose the very energy that would have made others admire you. Every time you speak from fear instead of clarity, people feel the fracture, even if they can't name it. When you start to live from coherence, when your values, words, and actions begin to match, your life becomes its own quiet argument for respect. And you stop needing to prove your worth because your integrity proves it for you. Respect, at its highest form, is not something you receive. It's something you radiate. It's the unspoken ease of a person who belongs fully to themselves. People respect what they cannot control, and they cannot control the one who no longer fears their opinion. When you walk into a room anchored in that freedom, eyes turn, not because you demanded attention, but because your calm reminded others of their own unrest. That's the final paradox. The most respected people are mirrors. They don't seek to impress. They reveal. They make others aware of what's missing within them: self-trust, peace, coherence. And that awareness transforms into reverence. Respect isn't won. It's recognized by those ready to see it. And maybe the real art is not learning to be respected by others, but learning to respect the quiet strength within yourself first. Because when you finally do, the world begins to respond in kind. Respect is not the finish line. It's the beginning of a deeper test, what you do once you have it. Many people spend their lives chasing respect, and when they finally receive it, they start living to maintain it. That's when respect quietly turns into a prison. You begin curating your identity to stay admired. Every word becomes cautious, every move strategic. The weight of others' perception begins to cage your authenticity. The fourth secret, the one that only the rarest minds ever reach, is this: you must be willing to lose respect to keep truth. Because respect, built on image, will always demand performance. But respect, built on essence, can survive truth's disruption. When you dare to outgrow the version of yourself people respected, you prove you were never seeking their validation, only your own evolution. You can feel the difference. Image-based respect feels tense, like holding your breath. Truth-based respect feels open, like quiet air between heartbeats. People sense when you're no longer performing for them. Some will pull away, not because you've lost worth, but because they depended on your performance to feel safe. Their discomfort is not proof you've changed wrongly. It's proof you've stopped mirroring their expectations. Respect that endures must evolve with you. Every time you outgrow an identity, the achiever, the caretaker, the strong one, the world must recalibrate how it sees you. Some will resist that change, but those who truly respected your being, not your role, will stay. It's easy to impress people. It's hard to remain real once they're impressed. Because the moment you start guarding the image of who they think you are, you begin to drift from who you actually are. You become careful, and carefulness kills presence. You'll notice this in conversations, how people who are respected often start speaking less freely. They monitor tone, pace, posture. They fear a crack in the mask. But cracks are where trust lives. People don't bond with polish. They bond with presence. The paradox of deep respect is that it deepens only when you allow yourself to be misunderstood. Because true authority is not clarity to everyone. It's clarity within yourself. To sustain respect, you must learn the art of letting people misread your silence. You must allow others to think what they will, without rushing to correct their perception. That's not apathy, it's sovereignty. The moment you stop explaining yourself, your presence begins to explain you. There's another layer most never notice. Respect is a mirror of how comfortable people are with uncertainty. When you stay grounded in your own ambiguity, when you don't rush to define, label, or justify, others begin to respect your ability to hold mystery. Because mystery implies depth. We live in a culture obsessed with clarity. Every feeling must be explained, every stance declared. But the rare souls who can hold quiet complexity without needing to make it neat, they command an ancient kind of respect. The respect reserved for those who feel infinite. There's also the humility paradox. People respect confidence, but they trust humility. And without trust, respect decays into performance. Humility doesn't mean minimizing yourself. It means knowing where your strength ends and life begins. It's the courage to say, I'm still learning, even when people already admire you. That admission doesn't make you smaller. It makes your presence larger, because it allows others to exhale. When you can embody both authority and openness, both certainty and curiosity, you create the rarest feeling in others: balanced awe. Not fear, not worship, but a deep recognition. This person is powerful, yet reachable. That balance sustains respect far longer than perfection ever will. Another truth emerges. People respect what they can't easily predict. Familiarity breeds comfort, but unpredictability, when grounded in integrity, breeds fascination. The person who can surprise without betraying their values becomes unforgettable. To sustain respect, don't become a statue of your strongest moment. Keep moving, keep questioning, keep contradicting your old self when truth demands it. People may not always agree, but they'll sense you are alive. And aliveness commands respect in ways reputation never can. Sometimes you'll need to withdraw to preserve this aliveness, because too much visibility can dilute essence. When everyone has access to your words, your energy, your presence, the sacredness of it diminishes. Respect grows in space. Mystery feeds perception. You don't have to be everywhere to be felt. In fact, the most respected people often vanish at their peak, only to return deeper, quieter, more whole. That vanishing is not retreat, it's renewal. When you step back from constant exposure, you remind the world that your value isn't dependent on its gaze. That reminder, silent yet powerful, makes your presence even stronger when you do reappear. You can recognize this pattern in yourself, too. Think of moments you felt most grounded, most self-assured. They often came after solitude, when you weren't performing, just being. Respect begins there, in the relationship you hold with your own aloneness. Because how you treat yourself in private is how the world will treat you in public. If you belittle your own emotions, others will too. If you speak to yourself with quiet reverence, others will feel it in your tone. Self-respect is the script others unconsciously read when deciding how to treat you. The fifth secret, then, is not about psychology at all. It's about energy. The frequency of self-respect vibrates differently. When you truly hold yourself with tenderness, the nervous system of others mirrors it. They don't know why they respect you. They just feel calm around you, as if you carry the authority of someone who has forgiven themselves. Forgiveness, not dominance, is the true source of presence. Because a person at peace with their past no longer needs to prove anything in the present. To sustain respect, keep clearing resentment toward yourself, toward others, toward the past. Resentment hardens your tone, dulls your eyes, makes your presence brittle. Forgiveness softens you without weakening you. It gives you emotional elasticity, the ability to bend without breaking, to listen without absorbing. People respect that elasticity because it represents mastery, not control over others, but over self. And there's one last layer. People respect those who make them respect themselves more. When your presence subtly raises the standard of how others treat their own energy, how they speak, how they listen, how they hold silence, you become not just respected, but remembered. Because respect that transforms others lasts far beyond the moment of meeting. To reach that level, live so congruently that your mere presence invites others into alignment. When you walk in integrity, others sense the quiet challenge. Rise with me. That's why respect is contagious. It spreads through coherence. The rare few who master this don't walk with arrogance. They walk with awareness. They understand that respect is not about hierarchy, but harmony, not being above others, but being in tune with truth. When you finally see respect this way, it stops being something to win and becomes something to tend to, like a flame that needs oxygen, not control. You can't hold it by gripping. You hold it by being. And maybe that's the quiet lesson hiding beneath it all. Respect is not a reaction from others. It's the resonance of you being whole. When you protect that wholeness, you stop chasing the world to see it. And in that moment, and the world finally does,